Yay Networks.
What's up, y'all? It's your boy Cornelius back with another episode of This Is Life. And yo, if you didn't get a chance to listen to last week's episode, it was heavy. It was really heavy. And we're gonna kind of continue that this week. I'm riding solo dolo, but it's cool. You know, my ace boom coon. She has something else to do, so she's not able to be here. But I get a lot of questions from people who are asking about, you know, they want to know how can they support their partner when their partner's kind of going through something. And then I get people who are also asking, like, you know, how can I support my friend, or how can I support my pastor? How can I support this person? And so I'm going to tell you from my side, and then when my wife comes, she'll be able to kind of talk in depth about her journey and being able to walk through that too. And here's the crazy thing. The assumption is that when you're walking through something, that the other person may not be walking through something as well. And that was part of the struggle, I think, in our relationship, in my marriage, was that my wife was also walking through, you know, her own hurts and her own pain, and walking through her own situations and her own trauma. And then on this other side, it's like, well, I need to walk with you too. And I don't know how to walk with you. And then there were times where I didn't have the capacity to be able to, like, really understand or really even dive in depth of understanding her pain, because, like, I'm over here drowning. And then, you know, for me being married, I'm like, and having kids, it's like, not only am I drowning, but then, you know, you hand me 3 kids while I'm drowning, and then you expect for me to hold them above water. And I'm trying my best not to allow for them to see it or them to feel it, which they do. I'm trying my best to not allow for anybody else outside of the house to feel it, but typically they do. And I'm trying my best, as good as I possibly thought I could do, to not let my wife feel it, but she does. And I mean, of course, your significant other is going to feel it, because, you know, those are the people who are the closest to you. Well, that's the person who's the closest to you. She's walking with you, or he's walking with you. And there were moments where I would have to tell my wife, like, she would see me and I'd just be so down. And for her, it was like, it just came out of nowhere. It was like, I don't know where this came from. For her, it just came out of nowhere. For me, it was the fact that I lived inside of my head so much that I'm constant. I saw this thing over here as rejection. I saw this thing over here as abandonment. I saw this thing over here as, you know, lack of acceptance. I saw this. I would just, throughout my day, it was almost like I was measuring off the checklist of why I wasn't good enough. And then I just kind of gave up. And for her, it was like, it just kind of came out of nowhere. But for me, I had been ruminating on it for hours. And, you know, and then there would be times where she would try to explain to me or try to tell me, you know, well, babe, why don't you do this? Or why don't you do that? And then I would get so upset, because I was like, I don't want you telling me what you think I should do. And for me, on my side, it was, I don't want you telling me what I need to do, because I feel like that's all everybody's ever telling me. It's almost like you're giving me something else. And I want you to think about it like this. From my brain, it's like, think about it like you have a whole checklist of things you need to do. You already don't feel like, or you don't have the capacity to do any of them. And then somebody else comes and says, let me add onto your checklist to tell you more things to do. And he's just like, oh my God, just kind of leave me alone. But then on her side, I get it, because her side, she's like, well, I love you and I want to be able to walk with you through this. So I'm trying to offer you help. And I remember one time we had a conversation where I shared with her, there are more times when I'm looking for your care than I am for your words. Like, I would rather you just come and touch me than to sit down and lecture me. And that's how I would feel at times. I would feel lectured. Or I would look at her and I would say, don't, like when she would like, you know, she tried to not throw, but she tried to offer me scripture, which isn't a bad thing. But I used to be like, nope, do not start throwing that Bible at me. Like, I know those verses, I preach from. She's like, but you should probably do. And then, or there'd be times where she may want to play, music. And I'm just like, I want to hear that right now. I just need silence. I don't know. And it would bother me. But I get it from her side. Her side is, well, I'm trying to help as much as I possibly can. But most times I wasn't looking for more things to do. I wasn't looking for help. I was just looking for care. Because you have to understand something. When somebody's walking through that depressive, dark state, they feel alone. Even you can be in a room full of people and you can still feel like you're in that by yourself. And then for men, my wife can verbalize. She will verbalize. This is how I feel. Boom, 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 boom. And I find over the years in kind of, walking with other married couples that it seems like the wife primarily, I'm not saying this holistically, but typically it seems like the woman or the wife is the one who is like, this is how I feel. I'm just telling you how I feel. I'm going to tell you how I feel. And they just kind of bleh it all out. Whereas men take more of a role of suppression. And they just kind of take all of those feelings and everything in, and they just kind of push them down, 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 push them down. But then his activity typically doesn't stop. He still goes to work, works overtime, goes to the gym, spends more time there. Does more, and he's doing all these things. He brings you flowers on your birthday. He brings you flowers on your anniversary. He still goes, picks up the kids' food. He's still doing all these things, and you think, oh, well, he must be okay. He must be okay. He must be okay. But the truth is that he is drowning. And he doesn't feel like he has any place to go. And he doesn't feel like even his house is a safe space. So he doesn't feel like he has anything else to do. And he's become a creature of action. That's the reason why, he will give you roses on Valentine's Day and then divorce you on February 16th. And you're like, but you just gave me roses. Yeah, I just gave you roses because that's what I'm supposed to do. And I'm a man of action. But I don't like you. And I don't like me. And a lot of times, it's not even the fact that he doesn't like you. He doesn't even like himself. And he's searching for some type of relief all over the place. He's searching for it with the secretary. He's searching for it, now Jack Daniels and Jim Beam has become his best friends. And those are the people he talks to. He searches for it through the weed. He searches for it through the video games because it gives him an opportunity to just escape. And you're looking at it and you're like, well, all you do is spend time on those video games because that's the only time he feels like he is escaping. Or for some men, that's just what they feel like they do well. That feels like that may be the only thing they feel like they do right. Call of Duty is the only thing he has. And he will go crazy if anything happened to his Call of Duty because that's all he has. And then the friends and you got to think about it. For a lot of these men, man, the friends that they have that they probably confide in the most are the ones that they talk to on games. They've never met them. They live across the sea, across the way, don't do anything. And those are the guys who are like, dude, you don't sound like yourself today. You okay? No, man, really just kind of going through it. And he just kind of opens up and blahs to this complete stranger who he's just playing Call of Duty and NBA 2K24 with. And you're like, well, why can you talk to him, but you can't talk to me? It's because he doesn't feel safe. Well, I don't know what I did, so you didn't feel safe. Well, I don't know. That's a conversation that you guys have to have. He doesn't feel safe enough. And I've had women who will say, well, I have my own issues and I have my own things that are going on. And one thing I really hate is the debate of superiority. Like we're trying to estimate who has been hurt the most between women and men. And I go through my own things and you get it. And it's just like, why can't we just come to the point of realizing that we're both different and that we both process differently? And you want him to talk and explain and all these kind of things. And he cannot, because from the time that he grew up, he wasn't even given the opportunity to explain. He wasn't given the opportunity to express himself. And if he was, his expression was through fighting. And that's the reason why men go and they take jujitsu and karate and all these things so they can go and hit something and hit somebody. They go take boxing and they become kickboxers to channel all of that aggression and that trauma into something. So it becomes a process that you have to really walk through. And I want to talk more about that process. I'm going to talk more about it right after this. This episode is brought to you by BetterHelp. Give online therapy a try at betterhelp.com/Lindsay's and get on your way to being your best self. Here's the thing. If you're walking through a depressive state or a dark stage with your partner, or both of you are walking through it, sometimes it can be very difficult for you to have those conversations that you want to have to understand with your spouse or with your significant other or with your partner. This is why it's so important for you to be able to have someone that you can talk to so that you don't get pulled down into that same dark space, because you're looking for answers. How do I help this person? How do I walk with this person? You know, what do I say? What do I do? You need help. And that's the reason why BetterHelp with online therapy is so important. They provide a virtual experience so that you can speak with a licensed professional therapist, someone who can walk you through the process as you're walking a significant other, or you're walking a spouse, or you're walking a partner, you know, through their own stages. They're able to tell you, hey, you need to be careful because now I'm starting to see you're going through, you know, your own dark space, or this is how you can best help them. You need somebody else who, you know, whom you can talk to, because sometimes when your partner is going through something, you can't always share everything that you want to with them. They're drowning and they're looking for help. So you need to make sure you get the help you need. If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. You can discover your potential with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/Lindsay's today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/Lindsay's. Yo, that's 10% off your first month. Come on, like don't put this to the side. Do it right now. BetterHelp.com/Lindsay's. So yeah, you're walking through this process with somebody and you're trying to figure out, okay, so how do I become a support for this person? And you have to, I go back to the point of if your objective is just to offer help, sometimes the greatest help you can give is in care. It's just showing that you care. That's all. And here's the thing, you may be saying like, well, he don't do nothing for me right now. I'm gonna be honest with you, or maybe the other way around, where she's depressed and he's the one who's doing well. And if you have that right now in a relationship, my wife and I, we've been married, we're going on 13 years of marriage. In our 13 years of marriage, there have been times where she has been low and I've been high. There have been times where I have been low and she's been high. And I've had to realize during those times where she's been low that she just doesn't have the capacity for it. And then here's the other thing, because, you know, my wife is so performance oriented and she's so goal oriented and goal task, it's almost like I have to pull her out of it when I see her in it. Like, you know, my wife will work throughout the day, and then one thing she'll do is she'll be like, okay, now I gotta stop because I gotta make dinner. And she wants to make dinner, she wants to make it perfect, and she wants to cut up the potatoes just right and get all the other stuff. And then, but the whole time where she's doing it, she's like, oh, I'm so tired and this. And I'm just like, babe, chill. They don't need all of that. Like the youngest one, he legit survives on buttered rice. Like they don't need anything that's super cool, that's super fancy. Like the oldest one, he eats anything that I eat. I just cook enough for him. And my daughter, she survives off candy and macaroni and cheese. So it doesn't matter. Like, babe, don't stress yourself out of it. And she'll look at me, she'll say, thank you. Like, okay. And I'm like, just go and lay down. Go lay down and go watch like one of your little marriage dating shows. Like, it's cool. Just go lay down. And she's like, you sure? Yes, just go lay down. It ain't a big deal. Because she's like, well, I don't want to feel like a bad mom. You're not a bad mom. The kids don't believe you're a bad mom. And here's the thing, they're gonna have to go to therapy anyway, because of some way in their head, even though we felt like their life has been great, they may have looked at it completely differently. So I'm like, who cares? They're gonna go to therapy anyway, because they got to work out their own salvation. Who gives a crap? You're an amazing mom. Who cares what they think? You are an amazing mom. And plus, they're 4, 7, and 9, almost 10. Like they'll get over it because you didn't cook for them one night. They will be okay. And I'll be like, well, then when they come in the house, I'm like, hey, Dad's cooking tonight. My kids are like, oh God, here we go, because they already know this one's getting rice. This one's getting mac and cheese. Already bought it from Whole Foods, so just warm it up. And the other one, hey, bro, sorry, but you're eating, scrambled eggs and ground bison with me. So just deal with it. You can put some Worcestershire, with the Worcestershire, you know what I'm talking about. With however you say that crap, you put the sauce on top of it, soy sauce. Just put some of that on. But I mean, it is what it is. So I'm like, I'm not stressing about that stuff. But you know what? I'm in a good place. My wife, she'll stress herself out trying to make sure that everybody else is okay. And I'm like, no. Like, okay, Saturdays, we got to do something. We got to do something as a family. And I looked at her and I'm like, the other day, and I was like, dude, you want to do something as a family? How about we all just kind of lay around the house? That's something. Yeah, but we got to create an experience. That is an experience. It's a great memory. And when my kids come in, they're like, Dad, we want to do something today. We are doing something. Go back and put on your pajamas and just go chill. Like, go play video games or go outside or, I don't know, go jump rope. Like, I don't know. He's like, well, I feel like doing something. Okay, drop down and give me 10 push-ups. Like, we're not going anywhere. Like, I'm not going to Target. I don't want to go to the grocery store. I'm not going to a jumping park. I don't want to go to a germ-infested, community full of other people's kids who kick me on purpose. That is a whole episode by itself. Like, have you ever been to those jumping parks? Like, it is one of the worst experiences that I have ever had. And here's the thing. The parents seem to only book birthday parties at these jumpy parks. And I get it, because it's a great place for you to just have your kids to go crazy, jump out all of their energy and everything right there. But then what happens after the jumping? Then they go to the party where they're served what? Pizza, sugary drinks, and cake. And then they're giving candy to take home. So now the kids have burnt themselves out, and then you just sugar hide them back up. And now they got to get back in the car with me. And I'm just like, you know what? This is it. But we're not doing that. Today, we're just chilling. We're chilling as a family because everybody needs to just take a break. Everybody just needs to rest. But you got to know, like, you really have to be able to look at each other and see, okay, when this person's going through something, it's like, well, you just need to just kind of take a break. You kind of take a rest. How can I kind of alleviate some of this stress off of you? And then there have been times where I felt like I'm alleviating so much that I feel burdened down. Where I'm like, well, I hope she gets better soon because, and then there have been times my wife has felt like, well, I hope he gets better soon because she feels overwhelmed and she feels overburdened and she feels tired and she feels all these things. She's like, I just need a break. And one of the things that I think is extremely healthy as well that we practice is that I know my wife, she needs breaks. So I look at her all the time like, hey, when are you going on a trip? Because it's one thing for her to say, I'm going to take a break. I'm just going to stay in my room and stay in the bed. Because everybody out there knows when you got kids, none of your kids abide by the rules of not going in your room when you're trying to take a break. My wife will be sitting in there and she's eating her popcorn. She's watching her shows. She's in the bed. And I tell all 3 kids, I look at them and I say, do not go in there. Do not mess with your mom. I will be sitting on the couch and I'm watching TV. My kids will walk right past me, walk right into the room and say, Mommy, I'm hungry. And my wife will look, I can hear my wife and she says, why don't you ask your dad? And they're like, I don't know. And she's like, well, where's your dad? Oh, he's on the couch. And I'm like, hey, well, they didn't even talk to me. And they come back out and they close the door and they walk right past me. And like, I'm just like, hey, are you hungry? Yeah, I'm hungry. Well, ask me. Don't mess with your mom. So I tell her, hey, you know what? You probably just need to go somewhere. You need to go somewhere, get a couple girlfriends, y'all pick out a place, y'all go there, y'all hang out, y'all have a good time, all that kind of good stuff. Y'all chill out, whatever it is, y'all have fun, and then take some time to yourself because you need that. You need a break. You need a break from us. It's okay. You need to miss us. Yeah, you want to be with us, but give yourself an opportunity to miss us. Or I want her to go and do things that she enjoys. I want her to go do things that she thinks is fun. I want her to go do things that's good for her own mental health. I want her to go do things so that she doesn't have to feel obligated to always have to just be like in the house with the kids or with me. I have to take care of everything. And so you understanding and knowing like where your partner is and where your spouse is throughout this process is extremely important. And knowing when to walk with them and knowing, what to say with them. Because sometimes, and I have to say this, sometimes you could be using the right words, but you can be using them at the wrong time. And it's important for you to know, well, these might be the right words, but this might be the wrong time. Again, I go back to the whole point of like, sometimes in my journey, I felt like I am drowning. So I'm literally fighting for my life underwater. And then you hand me 3 kids and I only have 2 arms and I'm trying to hold all of them up while I'm, flailing underwater. And then you hand me everything else. And I'm like, ooh, and I'm still trying to juggle it all. And then the voice that I hear saying, you know what, you need to pray. And I'm like, I'm drowning. Throw me a freaking life raft. Give me a hand. Like, I don't want to hear, you know what, you need to pray. Very right thing to say, wrong time to say it. Or you know what, maybe you should listen to a song. Maybe you need to listen to more Jesus culture in Maverick City. Don't want to, not going to do it. Not even interested. Not even a little bit. Right thing to say, wrong time. And so you have to really be able to know. Sometimes you could be saying all the right things, but it's just not. It's not at the right time. It's a bad timing. And sometimes if you have to wrestle back and forth in your mind, like, okay, what do I say? What do I say? What do I say? What do I say? Sometimes think about saying nothing. Like I told my wife one time, she looked at me and she said, I don't even know what to say to you anymore because I feel like everything I say to you, you just you get upset about. And I looked at her and I said, sometimes I just want you to sit beside me. That's all. Like, just come and sit with me. Let's watch a movie together. You don't have to say anything. Just come and sit with me. That's it. Just come in the room and just sit with me. Because it's her presence that lets me know I'm not alone, even though internally I'm feeling alone. But her presence lets me know you're not by yourself. I'm right here. I'm right here. And that does something for me. Like if I'm just sitting in the room by myself, and she'll know it because I'll be in the game room and I'm just like, I'm kind of like zoned out. I'm just kind of playing the video game in the dark. And she just kind of walks in and she just lays down the beanbag right next to me. And she just lays there. And I'm just still playing the video game. And then like her presence, it almost like it uplifts me. And then after about 10 minutes, I look at her and I say, go get something to eat. And she's like, yeah, babe, sure, let's go get something to eat. And then we go and we have a great time. And I almost forget why I was in the funk in the first place. So sometimes if you got to like sit down and think about, what do I say? What do I say? What do I say? How about you consider not saying anything? I know it can be very difficult for a lot of y'all who always got something to say. You always got something to say. You always want to teach somebody. You always got a scripture. You always got a prayer. And for the umpteenth time, when you know people who are going through something, sometimes the worst thing that you can, not to say the worst thing, sometimes the thing that you can just kind of leave to yourself is you like, can we pray? No, I don't want to pray with you. And like in the past, I would always feel bad of telling people that. They'd be like, well, can we pray? And I would feel bad of saying no. Now I don't. I look at people, they'd be like, can I pray for you? No. Or you can, but not with me. Go do it over there. I don't know. No, I don't know. Or don't send people messages like, oh, can I, no, I'm praying for you. I like, that's one of the things, like one of our pet peeves is people who will say, I'm praying for you. I guess because, I grew up in the South and like, the South, the church, the religious South, that was one of the things. It was like one of the most condescending things that people would say to you. There's like, oh, I'm praying for you. It was just like, the women who'd say, oh, bless your little heart. It's like, and I remember I was telling this one woman, she was like, I'm praying for you. And I remember responding back to her and I said, I don't want your passive aggression. I feel like you're just being passive aggressive. And she's like, no, I'm not being passive aggressive. I'm just letting you know I'm praying for you. Well, you don't have to let me know. Just pray for me. Like, I don't need an announcement. I don't need a billboard that says I'm praying for you. Like if it meant anything to you, just pray. And then just send a word of encouragement. Hey, you're doing great for what you're doing. Love you. Send that. Not I'm praying for you. exclamation mark, exclamation mark, exclamation mark, exclamation mark, exclamation mark. Like, that's legit what she said. And I'm like, and then she sent me back and she's like, well, I just didn't know what was going on with you. Here's the craziest thing. Stop being so freaking spooky. Ask. Like, I just don't get that. Like, with me, you never have to guess. You never have to assume. Just ask. Like, why you gotta be so deep? You don't have to ask God, how is Cornelius feeling? Or you just be like, Cornelius, how are you feeling? And I'll tell you, I feel like crap right now. I'll be honest with you. I will tell you, you don't have, like, I'm sorry. People who do that kind of stuff, oh my God, it's just, woo. My God, I'm praying for you. Pray for your mama. Pray for yourself. Pray for your dog. Pray for you. I'm getting hot thinking about it. But nonetheless, look at your partner's capacity and then find a way to be able to fulfill it. Last thing I'll say is encouragement and discouragement and disappointment. So encouragement is like, if I can cut your heart out and I can pour courage on the inside of you, that's encouragement. Discouragement is I cut your heart open and I'm pulling courage out of you. So the reason why the Bible talks about 3 times saying, don't nag, don't nag, don't nag, is because nagging is pulling courage out. Because it's constantly saying what you don't do right, what you need to do better at. And it's a constant reminder of insufficiency. So you're pulling courage out. And then I wonder why he don't have courage. I wonder why he ain't doing nothing. Because you're discouraging. Encourage is, I'm pouring courage in you. You can do it. But I don't feel like he can do it. Even if you don't feel like he can, tell him. Even if you got to lie for a little bit, just tell him. Because his tank is empty. Or her tank is empty. And you got to pour some more courage in there. Pour some more courage in there. Pour some more courage in there. And then disappointment means that you had an appointed time that you just missed. And that appointed time that you missed became disappointment and brought you to depression. You have to learn how, even though I have an image in my head of how it's supposed to be, I'm going to trust God with how it is right now. If you're a man out there and you are looking for safe space to be able to walk through Life Build Community, I host retreats. I would love for you to be a part of them. I talked a lot about it in the past episodes, so I would encourage you to go back and listen to it. Or you just need, soul care coaching, kind of walking you through. I have a program called Rehab that I walk men through where they are right now and taking them to where they need to be. And it's cool. And you can find out all the information you need. You go to corneliuslindsay.com. Again, it's Cornelius Lindsay. It's my name, corneliuslindsay.com. And you'll fill out this questionnaire, fill out this form. Somebody from my team will contact you. You have a conversation, figure out where you best fit, and then you and I will converse, and then we'll kind of move forward with the journey. But y'all know we love y'all so much, for always tuning in and supporting us and all those different things, man. Thank y'all so much for staying locked in. We love you to the moon and back. Introduces. I'm out. God bless y'all. See y'all next week.